Welcome to this video about the Year 9 options. So first of all, what are the Year 9 options? So these are the subjects that a student's going to study at Key Stage 4, and these are on top of what we call our core subjects. So the core subjects are the ones every single student will study, and these are your maths, English language and literature, science. Everyone does a double award, but you can increase this to triple by using one option. I'll explain a bit more about that later. MFL, which will be either French or Spanish, and that's the language which the students studied all the way through Key Stage 3. Students can study an additional language, which is German, but that would again take one of the option choices. You've got core PE, which is mandatory PE, which every single student does. We also have GCSE PE, but that's an option. And then we have core careers and core religious studies. Again, there is a GCSE in religious studies, but that is one of the options. So how many options does a student get? They get 3 options in total. So the first option is an EBAC subject. So the student will need to choose either history, geography, computer science, triple science, or German. And then they get 2 completely free choices, and this is from a whole range of GCSE and vocational courses. These can include additional EBAC subjects if the student wishes to. So that is choice 1. So that is one of the students need to choose one of our EBAC subjects, so history, geography, computer science, triple science, or German. And then choices 2 and 3, the students can choose any of that list you can see there. So any of these subjects, it can be one of the EBAC subjects, which is also in this list. Obviously, they need to be different. So if they'd chosen history for EBAC choice 1, they couldn't choose history again. There are a few rules on a few of the subjects. So for example, you can only choose art or photography. You can't choose both. It's the same course, just a different pathway. You can only choose one design and technology. So we have quite a few design and technologies. They can choose either food, graphics, product design, textiles, engineering, or hospitality and catering. And then we have 2 social care options, but they can only choose one. So that would be either health and social care or child development. But they can choose any 2 out of that list. They don't have to choose an art, don't have to choose a D&T, and don't have to choose a social care. They could choose, for example, history and music, or art and product design, for argument's sake. So first of all, we're just going to look at the types of qualification. So there's 2 types of qualification we have. GCSEs, which are general certificates in secondary education. These are more your academic qualifications that lead directly on to A-levels at Key Stage 5. They're mainly assessed through exam, so there's at least one exam in all of the GCSEs. Subjects may have what we call non-examined assessments, or NEAs, and they are proportionally different dependent on the qualification. They tend to be quite small, but some of the practical subjects such as dance, drama, music, PE, art, photography and DT will have practical assessment. The NEAs will be a little bit more weighted than some of the other subjects. Then we have a vocational subject, so we have a range of BTECs, Cambridge Nationals and WJC awards. And vocational subjects are linked to work-based learning. So the students will learn knowledge and skills which are linked directly to types of jobs and careers. And they will lead to vocational courses which we offer at Key Stage 5, so within our 6th form. And these tend to have slightly higher proportions of coursework, but still do include exams. So these can have up to around about 75% coursework, 25% exam. Most are a little bit more balanced now, knocking more towards the 50-50. But you can see all that information on the individual subjects in the option booklet. So we have this thing called the English Baccalaureate, and all the information I've put on this slide is from the government's website. So what is the EBAC? So the EBAC, or the English Baccalaureate, is a set of subjects at GCSE that keep young people's options open to further study and further careers. So the EBAC's made up of a number of subjects. It includes English language and literature, maths, at least 2 sciences, and a language. Now, our core covers every part of that element. Every student will study those subjects in green. If a student does want to complete the full EBAC, they would need to choose geography or history as one of their options. So in terms of why to consider the EBAC, again, I've had this information directly from the government website. So EBAC's made up of a lot of subjects which are considered essential to many degrees, and it keeps lots of door opens. A study by the UCL, Institute of Education, shows that studying subjects, including the EBAC, provides students with greater opportunities in further education and increases the likelihood that a pupil will stay on in full-time education, so go to university, might go to college, etc., studying A-levels and then degrees further along the line. And then the Sutton Trust has revealed that studying EBAC can help to improve a person's performance in English and maths, so improving their literacy and numeracy skills. I visited a school recently who've adopted the full EBAC. Every single student studies EBAC and have done for a number of years, and their English and maths results have had a huge increase over the last few years. So it really does support that idea that it can improve literacy and numeracy skills. Do you have to study the EBAC? So to complete the EBAC, as I've previously mentioned, a student would have to opt for either history or geography. Students do not have to complete the EBAC, but they do have to choose one additional EBAC subject. So one of their three options, they do need to choose either history, geography, computer science, triple science, or German. So we've structured the options to keep students' future choices open, and we make sure that students don't get any avenues closed too soon. And we envisage an ambitious curriculum for each and every student. That's why we've chosen this particular curriculum model. So this is basically a summary of all the options programme which the students have completed or will complete. So during the options programme, students will get 3 assemblies. They'll get 1 introducing the options programme, quite similar to this presentation I'm doing now. They will have a assembly on a careers with a careers focus from a careers advisor, giving a few tips on perhaps some of the thought processes to pursue particular careers or how to keep your options as open as possible. And one final assembly they have summarising the options programme and then launching the options booklet, which has all of the information from all the subjects. You get they've had or will have specialist talks for all subjects they've not yet experienced. So although they all do study technology at Key Stage 3, in Year 9 they won't have done all of the disciplines. So they have a subject talk about product design, food, hospitality and catering, engineering, graphics and textiles, and they also get a subject talk on business studies, child development and health and social care, for the main reason being these are subjects which they will have not studied at all during Key Stage 3. They have 2 Kudos sessions which are in the PHSCE programme which are looking at possible careers. So Kudos is a programme, an online programme, which all students now have an account for, and they complete things like questionnaires which give them possible career pathways, loads of information on different careers, the qualifications you need, the pay, what you need to do, how to apply for them, and they will have those accounts for the rest of the time at school. Really, really, really useful when students start to think about career paths they may want to follow. They've had a wide range of form activities for a Future Choices programme. So they get emailed out every week and students will complete a range of different tasks. And they will also get, on the build up to the Year 9 Options Evening, talks in lessons about each subject we offer at Key Stage 4. Now they will have had technology talks and the business, child development and health and social care, but all the other subjects will talk to the students about their subjects and how and what they do at Key Stage 4. Then we have the Year 9 Options Evening. So the Year 9 Options Evening takes place right at the end of the options programme. And it's an event for parents, carers to get all the information they need to make informed choices. The students are obviously also invited. There'll be options talks to give information about the options process. It is pretty much exactly the same as what you're listening to now. Every subject for Key Stage 4 will have rooms which are staffed with subject specialists to ask questions and to talk through the possible options for each of the students. We strongly recommend, if you can, attend the event, that you do. And you should leave the event, or the student should leave the event, basically having all the information they then need to make informed and the final choices. So the Year 9 options form, it's not necessarily going to be a paper-based form. Sometimes we do it electronically, but that will depend on how we set it up. But they will receive the form after the Year 9's options evening. The form needs completing and handing in after half term, and students need to ensure they meet the deadline so all of their details go into the system. The reason will come clear for that on the next slide. So how it all works. So years ago, we used to have predetermined option pools where a student basically had to choose from 3 lists of subjects. The problem with that was that some students didn't get the combinations that they want because we obviously can't have every single subject in every single option pool. We now use a free choice system where the option pools are based on what the students have opted for. So the students will choose 1 EBAC subject and 2 free choices, and then they'll also choose 1 reserve choice just in case their options don't fit. And it works on what we call a best fit system. So what happens there is all of the students' option choices go into our system. We click a button and it will generate the best possible fit for that year group, which means we can't guarantee, 1, all courses will run. It'll be dependent on numbers being viable, and that the students' choices will actually fit into the pools. The vast majority it will, but there will be exceptions there. We get the students to put a reserve in just in case the options don't fit the pools, but we will speak to every student who doesn't get their first choices to make sure we give the right advice there. So now we're going to look at which of the following are good reasons to choose a subject, and then the other way around. So I like the subject is obviously a really good start. In fact, I might as well go to the answers being pens. I like my teacher. Is not a great thing. It's great that they like the teacher, but it's not a great reason to take the subject. It should be about the subject, not the teacher. They're not guaranteed that teacher for a start, but they must not like the subject, not obviously the teacher is the priority. My friend is taking the subject is one we get quite often, and it's a really, really poor decision to make. Again, it should be because they enjoy the subject. They're not guaranteed to be in the same class as the friends, especially on some of the subjects which run in multiple pools. And again, it should be about the subject. It's recommended for the career I want to pursue. Is obviously a really good reason. A lot of students have ideas of what they want to be when they're older, and if it does fit in to what they want to do, it's a great thing to do. My teacher told me to take it. Now, we're very competitive as teachers. We do want the students to take our subjects, but it's down to the student. The teacher can't tell someone to take a subject. It is down to the student to make that choice. I don't know what it is, but the name sounds good. Now, this one is genuinely one I've had quite a few times over the last few years that they've chosen it because it sounds exciting, but they don't know what it is. The students need to do the research. They need to make sure they've spoken to the teachers, read all the documentation we've given to make sure they know exactly what's going to go on in that course. It sounds really interesting, another really good reason to take a subject. Again, but make sure you do your research, make sure the student looks at what's involved in the course. I've heard it's easy. Now, again, this is one quite often we get students picking a subject, and it's a really poor reason to do so. 1, there's no easy subjects. All of them have to be to a certain standard, a certain level. Level 2 qualifications they are, so they're not easy. And taking it because it's easy and you don't enjoy it tends to be problematic. It should be because they enjoy the subject, not because they think it's going to be easy. I'm performing well on the subject now, especially for subjects which the students are already studying. It's a great starting point. You're performing well on the subject. It's something you're pretty good at. Is a positive reason to potentially take that forward. And then I'm glad I'm doing this virtually right now because this is the debatable one. So my parents said I've got to take it. Now, obviously, as parents, we want the best for our children. We want the best possible routes. but it is down to the student. We're there to guide, but it is down to the student at the end of the day. We don't get many of these where parents say they have to do a particular subject, but just take any advice. And if you do have any questions, please do contact us if you need any sort of guidance on perhaps a qualification you're unsure about, but the student really wants to take on. And last but not least, it's just a bit of advice on how to choose the actual options. Research. Make sure you know exactly what's involved in each of the courses. Make sure you've perhaps looked at potential career paths, what it can lead to later on. Make sure you use the option booklet. Option booklet's got all of the course information in. It's got everything, how they're structured, what it includes, etc. And then there's a series of YouTube videos for every single subject, which you can access to make sure you know what's involved in each of the courses. Quite a lot of the times, especially for students who have particular careers in mind, they tend to try and really narrow the choices. The advice is always to try and keep your options as open as possible. Try and choose a range of subjects to make sure you've got quite a balanced curriculum. And then when you get to A-levels or further study, you're not closing any avenues off. Using the Kudos account, they are a great tool. Going in, looking at particular careers, researching, completing all the questionnaires, you can give some really good ideas about how a student may pursue their career. Engage with the Year 9 options evening. So if you can attend, please do. It is a really, really good event, and we do get it's quite a positive evening. And talk to teachers, form tutors, senior leaders. We are all more than willing to help. I've sent out to parents a list of contacts for each of the subjects. Please feel free to contact those at any time. And finally, make the choices for the right reasons. We've just been through a whole list of positive and perhaps not so positive reasons to take a subject. It's about making the right choices, and I'm sure you'll do really, really well. Well, thank you very much for listening, and goodbye.